following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Here, roads wind through lush rolling hills to find the rural town of Watkins Glen, New York. A place where old traditions and new ways find harmony as the Eyes Out IndyCar Series roars into town. Drivers will find no summer holiday chasing down points leader Will Power, who's looking for his third road course win of the season. It's 4th of July weekend. The stars of the series hit the road in the Glen. We love to call it a Chamber of Commerce Day. Absolutely perfect weather conditions. We welcome you to the Finger Lakes region at Watkins Glen International. This beautiful 3.4-mile, 11-turn layout has been the site of some of the most historic races in the history of road course racing. The bus stop. A lot of action usually happens right in that corner, as well as through the S's. You see the trucks making their final inspection as we get ready to go racing in the midpoint season of the year in the 2010 season. How about Scott Dixon? He loves it at the Glen. He should. He's won it 3 times. In fact, 3 in a row. Only Graham Hill has done that. Formula One. Dario Franchitti, the last time we saw him on ABC, he was raising the milk in Victory Lane at his second Indianapolis 500 win. How about Will Power? He has been on top of the points since the beginning of the season. He is still there. In fact, he's going to lead this field from the pole today. But at the other end, Danica Patrick, she's been struggling. She comes back from a week in NASCAR that saw her finish 30th, and she's going to be starting in the lower third of the field today. How about the last 2 winners? A couple of surprises, really. Ryan Hunter-Reay driving for Ray Hall Letterman a couple of years ago, and then last year, how about the fact it was Dale Coyne getting his first winner as an owner in 25 years, thanks to that man, Justin Wilson.
The green flag will wave. The Camping World Grand Prix at the Glen is underway. There is the lead change. Justin Wilson, with a brilliant move inside, will have the lead. And the Penske Ganassi dominance, at least for now, has ended. Justin Wilson has run a near picture-perfect race as he wins at Watkins Glen International.
Winning last year doesn't make your car better when you need it to be better this year. In fact, Justin Wilson drove for a different team last year when he won that race than he drives with now. But how does winning last year help your psyche as you come into this race?
Well, I know that I can do it, but you know, that pretty much that's it. You're starting fresh with a new team, and just trying to work with my guys here on the Z-Line Designs car and see if we can get the car to react. And you know, things change, whether it's the tires, the track, the conditions. You can't just bolt on what I remember from last year and expect it to work. You got to keep working on it. Everyone else is advancing. You got to keep up.
4 road and street course layout races so far this season. You finished runner-up in 2 of them. What is that something extra that you need today to get to victory lane?
Well, bit of luck always helps, but the key is not making any mistakes. If we can keep it nice and smooth, nothing too fancy, just do our job and let other people make the mistakes, and hopefully we can move up, finish on the podium, if not sneak a victory, and that's the aim.
Justin Wilson rolls off 6th today, and starting behind him in the next row, starting off the 7th spot, is a man who's dominated this race, 3-time winner Scott Dixon.
This could be the race where Target Chip Ganassi gets their first win of the season. The Iceman coming to the Glen, and he leaves with a victory.
Dixon, the leader, has a pretty good sizable advantage.
Boy, and Dixon is just trying to check out. 1 lap to go at Watkins Glen. For the 2nd year in a row, it will be Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon has closed the gap on Elio Castroneves.
Elio crashes again.
He's going to see the checkered flag for the 3rd year in a row at Watkins Glen.
Well, after the IndyCar Series last road course, which was over 2 months ago, Scott, you said this team was lacking speed. Now that you've practiced and qualified here, what's your opinion?
Well, for me, it still looks like it hasn't changed. We qualified 7th. You know, we had a rough qualifying and made a few changes that I think we didn't really get the most out of it. But, you know, Dario had a great start or a great qualifying there, ending up in 4th. But to try and win the race from 7th is going to be tough. You know, we're going to have to make a lot of the right moves and some good calls on strategy. But race-wise, I think we have good speed. We just messed up a little bit in qualifying, and those Penske's are sure tough in qualifying.
Well, you sure know how to get the job done here. You've won 3 times out of 5 races. What sets this track apart for you?
I don't know. I just love it. You know, it's a historical track. You know, it's got a fantastic layout. I think it's a great racetrack for IndyCars because the straights are long enough. You know, slipstream up, pass. You know, it's just got a great flow to it. And the setting, you know, on the rolling hills, got some great lakes around here, and obviously it's a place that I definitely love a little more than others because we've had so much success.
All right, he alluded to the fact he's starting 7th, and that is his worst starting position here at Watkins Glen. Marty?
All right, thank you, Jamie. And as we look down on this beautiful 4th of July, you know, there are traditions that even individual families have, and one of them, as you can see right there, is Michael Donnelly's family. Keith Donnelly, here in New York area. They come here every year for the 4th of July race. Specialist Michael Donnelly is a Purple Heart recipient. His son, home from Iraq, stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia. His wife, Erica, new son, Lucas, they're watching, and they hope to be back here next year, joining the family as well. We'd also like to welcome all of our men and women in uniform stationed around the world watching today's telecast of the IZOD IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen via the American Forces Network. You know, July 4th is always, always so special. You can see some of the ceremonies, parachutists coming in with a checkered flag, but also the American flag as well. Today, we celebrate 234 years as a country. Think back to 13 colonies with the courage to just say no more. We celebrate that spirit. We salute everyone involved in our government and our armed forces around the world who are serving to defend the freedom that we have enjoyed for the past 234 years. You know, we listen to the anthem a lot. Today, it has very special meaning. Anthem. And a happy 4th of July to all of you, and thank you for spending part of your holiday with us here at the Glen. And my fine Canadian friend, your Independence Day was 3 days ago, wasn't it?
July 1st, that's right. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Independence Day to you as well.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about this race, because this is going to be fun to watch at the beginning, folks. We've got a couple of our big-name stars starting further back in the pack, and they're going to have to slice their way through.
Really, it's going to be difficult for them because this track is tough to pass out. You know, maybe some off strategy coming up here with fuel mileage things, but, you know, it's been very difficult for the guy up front to always win this event, and I think it might be a tough day for everybody.
Well, the pole sitter especially. Let's talk a little history. Take a look at this, because Penske has dominated here since the IZOD IndyCar Series has been running, winning the pole every single year, including this one. But notice the number on the right. Nobody's won.
And that's true. You know, and my favorite today, I think, has to be Will Power. I've been watching him in practice. Yes, he won last year. He is starting 6th outside that, you know, area where people have won before, but I certainly think that he has an opportunity to repeat here today.
Well, and that favors, if you check the record book, positions 2, 3, and 4. That's where where the winners always come from. So when you see that starting grid, keep an eye on those guys. But as we've seen also, some surprising names have crept up into it. Can that streak be broken today?
I think it can be. You know, the guy that I like right now has to be Adam Carroll because, you know, he's qualified 10th right now, new to this racetrack, new to North America racing, really. Michael Andretti saw him in Europe. I think that this guy has a lot of talent.
He has been slowly and steadily getting better, and we'll keep our eyes on him as well. Let's talk about the road courses so far this year because Will Power has been dominant as well, starting off the season, winning both opening events at Brazil and St. Petersburg on the road. And then Elio Castroneves picked up the win at Birmingham. And then as we moved on a little further, it was Long Beach with Ryan Hunter-Reay getting the win. And big news, Ryan Hunter announced the announcement that he will be in the IZOD IndyCar for the rest of the season. Dr. Pepper has come on board as well. And speaking of the points leader, Will Power, he's going to start on point. He's with Rick DeBrule.
Well, there are many racetracks you can go to where you can talk about the Penske curse, but Will Power, this is one racetrack where Penske's won every pole but never won the race. Is it a real curse? I mean, did you do, like, you know, voodoo dolls or any special things last night?
Yes, I have, Rick. But no,
but you're not going to tell us about those strange things.
No, but yeah, I became aware of it this weekend after I got pole, the Penske curse. But man, you know, I think just a good clean race and we can get that Verizon car up there and break it.
Is it safety in numbers? You got 3 guys this time to pull this off.
That's right, but you know, motorsport, you know, anything can happen. You know, yellows can fall at any time, but you know, we're looking for a Penske car to win.
All right, let's talk about the fact that at this racetrack, Penske tied a record, a modern record, 8 consecutive poles, 1 more, and they could actually get the record. But would you rather trade the pole record or a victory here today?
I think you know the answer. I just would love a victory here.
All right, Will Power once again looking forward to what may be a breaking of the Penske curse.
Well, so nobody's broken his hold on the top spot on the points. Take a look at the 2 in white. Remember now we also have a road course championship, the Mario Andretti road course champion and the A.J. Foyt oval champion. You see there that it is Power leading on the road courses, Scott Dixon on the ovals and on down through. And notice then who's in 6th place? Tony Kanaan. Remember, in fact, just 1 race ago, Tony Kanaan picked up the win, breaking the Ganassi and Penske streak.
Tony Kanaan hoping to break his string of bad luck at this racetrack.
Here comes Tony Kanaan. Kanaan will challenge for the lead. Kanaan now trying to make it interesting. And the battle falls now to Elio Castroneves. Tony Kanaan, he'll make it look easy as he gets past Elio.
For Michael Andretti, this could be a big shift of momentum.
For the first time in 2 years, Tony Kanaan has the 7-Eleven car back in victory lane.
For winning on the short oval at Iowa, to the lefts and rights in the rolling hills of Watkins Glen, Tony Kanaan, I know you weren't happy with your race car in practice and qualifying, but it was much better in the morning warm-up. What changed?
Well, I can't tell you what it changed, but definitely when you go half a second quicker in warm-up than your qualifying time, Vince, I think there is something wrong. So thank God we found it, and you know, it was a frustrating day because we actually haven't been qualifying well this year, but we've been racing really good. So places like this, I'm just going to have a lot of extra work, but the car felt great today, so we'll try to do it 2 in a row.
You're the veteran of this team. You've been on the podium here twice, although you've not won here. Yet you've really leaned on your teammates this weekend. I know you walked the track with Ryan Hunter-Reay before the weekend started. What are you looking to gain from that time with Ryan out here on foot?
Well, Ryan won the race here, so probably he came from a different team. When he won the race here, he was in a different team. So his experience, I wanted to know his feedback. Although I'm the veteran, I'm still learning. And, you know, Marco helped me out of his setup. I mean, I kind of went to his car. Some similarities on the cars from yesterday to today. So I was just trying to learn from the kids, man. I mean, you're always learning.
Tony Kanaan, he rolls off 13th today, Marty. Needs to make something happen at the start.
Well, he's only won back-to-back once in his career back in 2007. How about Danica Patrick? She's coming off a rough week last week at Loudon, New Hampshire. Her 4th run in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. That's early in the race when Morgan Shepherd gets into her, turns her around, and doing what every NASCAR driver does these days, goes up and lets Morgan know she wasn't happy about it. She ended up finishing 30th, 5 laps down. Let's hear from her now from Jamie Little.
Well, Danica, it's been the ultimate test the last 2 weeks. You were in your IndyCar on an oval. Then last week you were in your NASCAR Nationwide Series stock car. Now you're on a road course in your IndyCar. What have the last 2 weeks been like for you?
Well, gosh, I have to say thanks to everybody, all my sponsors, GoDaddy and Bob Parsons for keeping the faith, because I know I haven't really been up there, and it's been challenging, and the road courses in general in IndyCar have been challenging for me. There are just so many good drivers now that it's just really hard. And then in stock cars, I can't believe how much it feels like it's my first time in a car. Everything is so new, everything from what happens under a yellow to how to turn it on. So, gosh, it's just been new, but I am learning a lot. And contrary to what it looks like, I'm getting better on the road courses. It's just everybody's so good that, you know, it's going to take a lot.
Now, we saw you yesterday in qualifying. You qualified 21st. This morning's warm-up didn't seem to be that much quicker. What have the issues been here?
You know, that's the hardest thing, I think, is that the car doesn't feel that bad. I'm just not there. And, you know, probably one of the tough spots for me is up at the bus stop. They're all, you know, carrying a lot of speed through there, and I'm just like, whoa, you mean don't lift? That's what it looks like to me on the speed trace. So it's all right. You know, last year we were much better off, and we do have a different car, but that's the thing, is you have to evolve with the tires, with the track. Everything changes. So, you know, it's like almost like starting over every year. So, you know, we just haven't really hit it this weekend, and you know, it doesn't mean we can't do well in the race. This is more of our strong suit anyway. So, you know, we always have good strategy, and, you know, race pace will be there.
Well, coming into Watkins Glen, she has a string of 3 top 10 finishes. Marty?
All right, thanks, Jamie. And the 41-year-old Paul Tracy back in the car. He's in the number 24, subbing for the injured Mike Conway. Flash back to Indianapolis. What a reversal of fortunes for these two drivers.
Paul Tracy on the bubble. Keep in mind that he withdrew a 4-lap average of 223.892.
Final precious minutes at Indy.
Not fast enough.
Wow, what a gamble. And it doesn't pay off.
The Indianapolis 500 is now green. You've got Mike Conway leading the Indianapolis 500 for the first time in his career. Oh, we've got a crash. Oh, a wicked crash involving 2 cars at least. Let's bring Scott Goodyear back in now, because you had a chance to talk to Mike Conway. He's over in England recuperating.
Spoke to him at his home there. He's with his family recovering, and his family was in Indianapolis when he crashed, so he said that was very comforting to him. A lot of injuries with a broken back and also a broken leg. His brace is off his back right now. He's still going through therapy. He is swimming in the pool. That is taking its toll just on getting used to that sort of thing, he said. And also his leg cast is coming off. They're checking out all the pins and the screws that are in there. A lot of damage to his left leg. He has to have a cast put back on that. He wants to drive again. Says, man, it's tough to watch somebody else driving your car. He'd like to be back later in the season. He's going to have to be cleared by the doctors, by the Indy Racing League, and also his insurance before that can happen.
He's talked about Sonoma, but the team is saying they're doubting that that's going to happen. Now, as you can see, drivers have already strapped in, so you know what that means? When we come back to Watkins Glen, it will be time to fire the engines and get this race started for 60 laps of racing in this beautiful countryside.
ESPN's coverage of the IZOD IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen on ABC. Presented by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Available at Macy's. Mother's Polish. There's no shine like Mother's. And the Mitsubishi Lancer. It's different for a reason.
Watkins Glen International race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Regional Vice President at Camping World, Kevin Bostrom, as he gives the command.
Okay, on behalf of Camping World, drivers, start your engines.
talked about at the top of the broadcast how beautiful a day it really is. Let's show you the statistics. And here you can see 87 degrees, track temperature at 130, and only 36% humidity. When we come back, we'll take you on a tour of Watkins Glen International, and we'll go racing. That's the beautiful view from high above Watkins Glen. Let's give you a tour of this 3.4-mile layout.
Beautiful upstate New York. Marty, here is a favorite track for all the drivers in the IndyCar Series. It was one of my favorite tracks when I got a chance to race here in sports cars. 3.37 miles around. Very tough because of the blind corners and the hills. Turn 1, a great passing opportunity coming down there in 160 miles an hour as we ride along now with Scott Dixon. Watch the Firestone telemetry on the right-hand side. The speed goes up, and as you get to the top of the hill, exiting turn 4, you'll already be at 160 miles an hour. That run down the long back straightaway down to the bus stop chicane, up over 170 miles an hour, an excellent place for packing once again. Turns 5 and 6, we're going through 5 right now on your right-hand side. That's the old track. That's the track that NASCAR uses. We go down to the new section, down into the boot. We are now going through turn 6, back on the gas, that run towards 7, another opportunity for passing. Once you're outside turn 7, coming here through turn 8, opportunity for passing, but very bumpy. Now we head back up the hill in a very slow section, also getting back onto the original racetrack. Accelerate very quickly, going through turns 10 and 11. Watch the speed here in turn 10, 140 miles an hour on entry, keeping the speed up, going through turn 11. You have to exit here very quickly so you get a good run down the straightaway. Watch how close the Armco barrier is there on the left-hand side. It's a great racetrack, very physically demanding.
Great layout. Watkins Glen, you can see the cars. Next time by, we will be going green. Next time by, as you see the starting lineup across the top of the screen. Remember, we talked about winning positions out of 2, 3, and 4. That means Castroneves, Briscoe, and Dario Franchitti, according to the books, have the edge. How about our 6 onboard cameras? We've got Dan Weldon, appropriately with the National Guard on board. Danica Patrick with GoDaddy.com. Scott Dixon for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. Marco Andretti with Venom Energy. Adam Carroll with Boost Mobile. And Ryan Hunter-Ray with his full season ride now with Izod, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, a bunch of others coming on board. Great news for him today. He had a big smile on his face. Time to get final reports from pit lane. Let's first check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Marty, one driver who came into this race with a lot of momentum on his side, E.J. Viso. He finished 3rd at Iowa, the IndyCar Series last stop. That was his best career finish, but it all came to an abrupt halt in yesterday morning's practice. You could see here, he comes into turn 2, extremely hot, overshoots it, goes through the grass, bends the skid plate underneath. He loses control, hits the wall not once, but twice. That resulted in going to a backup car and a backup motor. He missed qualifying this morning in the warm-up, broke the right front suspension. Look for this team to mix up the strategy to get to the front. Rick?
Well, Jamie, one driver here who's tired of being good wants to get better. That's Marco Andretti. He's been good here. He's qualified in the top 10 every race. He's finished 5th the last 3 races. Was in the hunt to win at the race before that, but he's tired of doing good. He wants to win here. Now, the problem is he's starting back in 8th place. He's got to work his way through the field. His problem today, his biggest thing, is how to channel that frustration into speed without making a mistake. Marty?
Thank you, Rick. Let's check our GoDaddy.com rules of racing.
Well, we're going to have 60 laps around this race course, 3.37 miles, as we mentioned. Pit strategy, 2 to 3 stops. If there's yellows, we might get it done in 2. All teams are expecting a 3-stop race here. Push to pass, we'll explain that as we go through. It's something new this year. 12 pushes, 22 seconds in length, a 10-second recharge, get an extra couple hundred RPM, and about 10 more horsepower. Drivers will use that. And the tires themselves, 6 original Blackwall tires, and then you have some reds and 3 sets of reds. And Vince Welch for an update on the tires. Let's hear it.
Well, Scott, 2 big different strategies with the 2 power teams, Penske and Ganassi. The Ganassi team starting 4th with Dario Franchitti and 7th with Scott Dixon will start on the reds, the alternate tires. It's a softer compound. As far as the blacks are concerned, they are the primary tire. As we get ready to go green, we're going green right now. These black primary tires, it's a harder compound on these tires. And that means that they are not going to be as good at the start. So the red's going to be better at the start. So the red cars of Ganassi looking to make up some spots right away at the beginning of of the race, Marty.
And the race winner on every road course race out of 12 so far has been starting on the reds. Down the back straightaway. Willpower on the inside. Briscoe right behind him. That was fun, and it's going to be that way a lot, I think, as we get into the early stages of this race. It looks like a snake working its way through the bus stop chicane. Now heading down towards the boot. And looked like one of the, well, it was the 10 car, Franchitti, getting way outside.
And we're right along now with Scott Dixon, and he said, boy, it's tough to win from starting in 7th, and he's already trying to make his way up through there. If the leaders start to stretch away, and we do not have any yellow flag scenarios, you end up in a situation where you're always playing catch-up.
Heading for the very bumpy section you described, turning, whoa, and saw a lot of dust kick up, somebody exiting out of the boot.
And Justin Wilson slides on the inside of Dixon. He got a little bit of a slow speed coming out of turn 7. It cost him on that run up the hill.
So drop him back a spot. Justin Wilson says thank you very much. Meanwhile, up front, you can see Team Penske running 1, 2, and 3. But remember, they all started on the primary black compound. See if that strategy pays out for them as we get ready to complete lap number 1 of 60. It is Willpower, followed by almost a second with Ryan Briscoe, Elio Castroneves, Dario Franchitti, Justin Wilson, Scott Dixon in their top 6.
What all the drivers don't want to see is the ability of Willpower on a road course or a street course. He is so special, very talented. All the drivers know it. Even his teammates know it. If he gets out the lead, if you now look at the target cars, trying to go on the inside, boy, there's not much room there.
Almost contact between the 3 of Castroneves, the 10 of Franchitti.
And Franchitti's trying to get past Castroneves because Franchitti looks in his mirrors and sees Justin Wilson. And Justin, very talented, obviously won here last year. With Dale Coyne's team aboard the Dreyer and Reinbold machine now, everybody knows whatever he drives, he's going to be very fast.
Well, Franchitti, Wilson, Dixon, they're all on the red compounds. They know they've got the little grip advantage here early in the race. They're trying to take advantage of it, but they can't get up to those 3 Penske. Down through turn 8 again. Let's go back on board. That's with Scott Dixon.
Now this is where you want a good drive out of the turn. You have to get good acceleration here. Get yourself through 10 and 11 if you're going to have a shot at getting a draft down the front stretch. Dixon does not get it done that time, although Wilson was a little bit on the curve through 10. Does that give an opportunity for Scott Dixon? Does not look like it.
On the ticker, you'll see what tire each driver is running right now, whether it's the primary black or the alternate softer compound red. For Willpower, he has opened up the lead now to a second. He's leading his first laps ever at historic Watkins Glen.
This is a fun section, that 80-foot climb from turn 1 through turn 4. That run that we get going down here now is Dixon's going to have a shot, looking to take back the position from Justin Wilson. Gets it done nice and clean. 172 miles an hour into that bus stop chicane, down a quick couple of gears, back on the gas, through this carousel, and now the plunge down the hill into turn 6.
Great view from high above, gives you an idea. Wilson, as we mentioned, just dropped back a spot as he got passed by Scott Dixon. He's now running in 6th. Let's get more from Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, talking with Larry Curry, the engineer and strategist for the team, he was saying they were very confident. They made some major changes as a result of the session this morning, felt very comfortable, and as they once again look at the action on the track, they were starting on the red tires because they don't feel they're going to get as much oomph out of those as they can with the black tires, the primary tires. So if things hold true the way they think going into this race, once they change the black, they may even be able to do even better than they've done so far.
So while they continue to try and move to the front, let's talk to the guys that are in front. Willpower, Ryan Briscoe, Elio Castroneves, and Team Penske. Vince, what do you have?
Well, Marty, just as we were talking about in regards to the relation of the tires between red and black, the blacks of the Penske car is going to be a little bit on the defensive initially as they try to hold off that initial charge from the reds. But once those blacks come in after a couple of laps, the blacks should be better over the long haul. In fact, all 3 Penske cars started on scuffed tires, thinking that would help them come in a little bit more. As you see a great battle of the red cars trying to get inside of the Penske car. Not going to work. Right now, good defense from those 3 cars up front carrying the Penske colors.
going on. We'll update you, tell you that Paul Tracy has moved up 3 spots, started 12th. He's now up to 9th. Things have calmed down a little bit now with that battle in the top 5. We'll move a little bit further back into the field, and there you see everybody pretty much holding station. There's the 06 Hideki Muto, followed by Vitor Mira, and right after Mira is Simona Di Silvestro. Speaking of Paul Tracy, there we get our first good look at him. Of course, he'll be running the Canadian races. Our next stop in Toronto in 2 weeks. Paul right now, 6 seconds behind the race leader, running in 9th.
You know, for Paul, this is a warm-up race before he goes to his hometown race in Toronto. He'll follow through and run the next weekend at Edmonton. And he said he pushed really hard for this, talked to a lot of people. He wanted to get it done, needed to get some time back in this seat before he goes to the street race in Toronto. Hometown race, wants to do well, but Toronto's a very tough track, very fast, and also very rough.
Rafi Matos, you saw right there as he was making a pass a little bit further back in the field as he made that stick. He got around Mario Moraes, moved Matos up to 11th. We talked about Tony Kanaan starting further back in the field. Right now he is running in 14th position. As you see some more side-by-side action, there is Kanaan. He's going to have a great view of this right in front of him as again, that's Matos and Moraes. They're going after each other. Holds on to the position. Look at the... I'll tell you what, that's Adam Carroll. We told you he has been very impressive. Hasn't driven in a race in 14 months. And this kid's been impressive.
Well, and Michael Andretti spotted him when Michael Andretti's team was running over an A1 GP, and Marco was doing some driving. He was very impressed with Adam Carroll and followed him throughout the races over there. Thought that he would like to get him over to IndyCar. When I spoke to Adam, he said, what a treat that is to come over here and race with such a great team, learning new tracks. He said it is very difficult. He's got a great line right now. Tracy's just up in front of him. Got to get on the gas. Got to get a shot for drafting here. Very talented. Never been on an oval track, so if he gets a full-time ride next year, that'll be the difficulty for Adam Carroll.
So, Jamie, what's the latest on this 27-year-old driver from Northern Ireland?
Well, he's doing a heck of a job. I'll tell you, Marty, it's been 14 months since he's been in a race car, and he's just listening to his crew right now. The communication has been great. Michael Andretti is his strategist, and they said, okay, listen, we need to save some fuel right now, but today it's all about having fun, complete the lap, keep doing what you're doing. So far, so good for Adam Carroll.
He is doing very well right now, holding station, but we've got quite a bit of action going on. As you see, the battle for third still within eyeshot with Castroneves, Frank Keaty, and you can see that Frank Keaty got around Elio now and has taken over that third position. So the Penske's have been broken out of the top 3, as it is still Team Penske and Target Chip Ganassi Racing holding down the top 5 positions. And as we go to break, take a look at Danica Patrick as she had an eye full as we go 3 wide. Whoa, look out. It was close.
Select iThought IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Dan Weldon. Select race transport. Mission finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
For a real bacon lover, what's better than Wendy's fresh cooked applewood smoked bacon? Falling in love over and over and over. Because now there's 3 ways to fall. The Bacon Deluxe, the Bacon in Blue, and the Baconator.
You know when it's real.
Story about a man with a car and a job, a wife and a kid, and his name is Bob. Just a regular guy with a regular car, but it's what he rolls on that makes him a star.
Stone, Firestone.
His Firestone tires are known far and wide. The way they perform gives a sense of pride. That's Bob's story. He ain't no liar, because everybody knows the legends ride fire.
Firestone.
Legendary drivers need legendary tires.
I compete with sugarcane ethanol.
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 I compete with sugarcane ethanol. Ethanol is the fuel we use on every IZOD IndyCar race.
Cane ethanol diversifies America's fuel supply.
And it should be in your tank. It's in my tank.
Learn more about advanced renewable sugarcane ethanol.
Summertime is Frosty time. For just 99 cents, treat yourself to a real original. Wendy's Frosty is made with fresh cream and 100% real cocoa. It's the original. Creamy, cool, classic. Now only 99 cents, and only at Wendy's.
ABC Tuesday. Drop in and see why over 17 million viewers are taking the plunge. All new at 8/7 Central, it's Wipeout Couples Edition. If they can make it through this course together, it'll be wedded bliss.
You gonna marry her?
Then, at 9/8 Central, in the wildest game of trivia, not only can this woman lose these prizes off a skyscraper, but also her daughter.
I'm sorry.
An all-new Downfall. It all starts Tuesday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Back at the IZOD IndyCar Series event here in Watkins Glen. You saw it on side-by-side. The contact with Scott Dixon. That car that's just leaving did right front damage to the wing. They replaced the nose assembly. Elio Castroneves left rear tire went down because of that contact. They replaced the tire for Elio Castroneves. No other damage on that car, but you see certainly a tough break for both Dixon and Castroneves to have to come to the pits under green, Marty.
All right, let's go back and show you what happened. Take us through it, Scott.
Scott Dixon comes out the top of the hill. Remember, doing 160 miles an hour right now. He's got the speed. He makes the move a bit too soon and clips the left rear of Elio Castroneves, and Elio certainly knows the tire's going down right away. Watch how close this is. It's just like a thin piece of paper, just a moment too soon. If he had waited just a second, he certainly would have had it. He even went to almost run off the road. Remember, at that time, you're already going 160 up to 165 miles an hour, and Elio knew that he was slow. He was just going to try and make that run going out to the outside to sort of hold off Scott Dixon. Could not get it done. Now watch the move here. Just a moment too soon and just wiggles his way through. He knew he had the speed, and also Castroneves knew he was trying to block him, and it cost them both.
Now, that's the bad news. The good news is they are still on the lead lap, so it still could be that they can get back into this race. If the caution would come out, that would bunch the field back up. Both of them took advantage of the situation to top off with fuel, and we know some teams already, including Alex Tagliani, were going short pit.
Well, Alex Tagliani came in lap about lap 5 or 6, you know, but if it's green all the way, all the teams said we cannot do it in 2. It's going to take 3 stops. So right now, you'd have to come in for a splash of fuel at the end with maybe about 5 to 8, maybe 10 laps left to go. Well, this is just a reverse strategy for them right now. They've come in early. They'll still have 2 stops. They hope that maybe when they get to the end of the race, if it's gone green all the way through, that just puts them in a great track position. That's what they have to hope for right now.
All right, let's reset the top 3 for you because they've sort of checked out on everybody else. Will Power, followed by Ryan Briscoe and Dario Franchitti. That group has a 3.3-second lead over 4th place Justin Wilson. Takuma Sato running 5th. Marco Andretti is running 6th. This time by, you see that we have completed a total of 9 laps, working lap number 10 of 60.
And something a little different this year, Marty, than we've had in past. In previous years, the drivers have been able to control the fuel mileage by a knob on their steering wheel inside their cockpit. They could go from 100% fuel and trim it down. Now, this year, it's 100% fuel or then a yellow setting. The options have been taken away, so we're seeing some great racing because these drivers aren't trying to save fuel. They're just racing.
Remember, we told you it was going to be fun watching the 2 cars, one of them being that one right there, the 37 of Ryan Hunter-Reay going inside of Paul Tracy. This is for position, and he's going to take him through the bus stop.
And that's a big move when you can outbreak Paul Tracy with the experience that he has and so many race wins plus a championship. That was a great move by Ryan Hunter-Reay.
From 16th, he has now picked up 7 spots. Ryan Hunter-Reay shown now in 9th.
Paul looks like he doesn't have the speed that the guys have around him, so for Tony Kanaan, he has to time it correctly now, so he has an opportunity to hop inside of Paul Tracy and surprise him in one of the turns.
Dropped a couple of wheels off on the 7-Eleven machine, but was able to maintain the pace. He's still right behind the 24, and right behind them is the rookie, Adam Carroll.
This is where you want to get it done. Coming back up onto the old circuit, accelerate hard. You're coming up through turns 10 and 11. If you can have the opportunity to get close to the car in front, that's when you get a draft down the front stretch.
Well, let's get an update on Paul Tracy from Rick DeBrule.
Talk about the fact, surprisingly, this last year when Paul Tracy came to Watkins Glen, that was the first time he had ever raced at that track. Even though he's just from across the border, he never was able to race here because he was younger than 18. We should also point out that he's a leaner, meaner machine than when he came here last year. He's lost about 40 pounds, but he says I'm a second slower. I'm just not quite sure why. Let's go over to Vince.
Well, Tony Kanaan, we noted at the start, it started 13th. He was disappointed with that qualifying position, as you see him making the challenge on the outside. Kanaan hoped to gain several spots at the start of the race, but he was not able to do it. So with the position that he was in, because he was not able to gain spots early, they told him, be conscious of the fuel, pick them off when you can. You saw he challenged that time, but didn't get the pass made.
Yeah, Paul Tracy said, are you kidding? I am not going to give you the inside line. You've got that outside porch. You can sit on it. And that's exactly what Paul did, and he took the position through the bus stop and has opened up a bit of ground.
And what Tony could have done is waited just a little bit longer coming up that hill because he had the speed, the momentum. Just wait a moment and then get on the inside of Paul going down that stretch.
So there's the top three as we are working on lap number 11 of 60 here at the Glen, Watkins Glen, New York. How about Dario Franchitti? He's never won here at the Glen. It's on his bucket list. Ryan Briscoe, he's come close, but he too looking for a win. And how about Will Power, the points leader? He's out front. He's been there all 11 laps. As you look at the top three, the great thing about side-by-side, you saw the pass by Takumo Sato over Justin Wilson, put Sato into fourth behind this group of Will Power, Ryan Briscoe, and Dario Franchitti. And I've just been told we were not in side-by-side, so I'm sorry for that, and we'll tell you that Sato got around Wilson. These three have checked out on that fourth-place car. Right now, Sato is 7.8 seconds behind the race leader, and Will Power has led every single lap. All right, we're getting closer to pits for these guys, and let's get an update on the strategy for these three. Vince, we'll start it with you.
Well, as far as the lead is concerned with Will Power, he had an opportunity to get off to a good start and had the two teammates behind him in Ryan Briscoe and Helio Castroneves. So Power was able to save a little bit of fuel in those early laps because he had that sizable advantage. Briscoe has had to turn it up a little bit in regards to not saving fuel because of the pressure that Franchitti can now present, even though you don't see him in the screen. With Franchitti behind him, it's not the luxury of having his teammate Helio Castroneves back there. Franchitti on the charge. They like the car that Dario's had. He's finished twice here, or finished third here 2 times before, and he really liked his race car coming into this race. Mike Hall, the managing director for Target Chip Ganassi Racing, said, we feel like we've got very fast race cars. Of course, Dixon had a little bit of problem earlier, that contact with Castroneves. No such issue for Franchitti. Likes the balance of his car, and the 3 front runners happy with their machines right now.
What I find interesting, Scott, first and second, Power and Briscoe are on the black primary tires. Then, from third all the way through 6, Franchitti, Sato, Matos, Justin Wilson, they're on the reds.
Well, with the temperature that we have now, venturing on about 90 degrees ambient and a high track temperature, I'm not surprised to see the 2 drivers in the front, the Penske machines with the black tires, being able to just start to walk away a little bit from Dario Franchitti, who is on reds, because invariably, usually what ends up happening is the red will give you more grip sooner, and maybe give you a bit more speed, but as the run continues on, sometimes the softer compound tire, which is the red, will start to trail off, and the car starts to squirm underneath you and braking, and you don't get as much grip through the turns. So maybe that's why the first 2 guys are spreading away.
All right, we're going to step aside. You will be in side-by-side this time as we're getting ready for the first round of pit stops, and it looks like it's going to come under green flag racing here at the Glen.
I've always wanted to do this, sir.
Buckle up.
Mario, there's a big left turn coming up. Funny. Mario, I kind of have to go to the bathroom.
We have a left turn coming up.
I got it.
Crosswalk.
I see it.
I'm hungry.
Honda performance lives in our race cars and in the Accord and Civic Coupes. Go to shophonda.com and enter for a chance to start an IndyCar race in this car with Mario Andretti.
At Mothers, we come up with innovative solutions to common car care problems, like yellow clouded headlights. They're unsightly, and the reduced light output is a serious safety concern. Mothers Powerball for Lights is a revolutionary product. Restoring headlight clarity may seem complicated, but it's not. Powerball for Lights is quick, inexpensive, and easy to use, even on severely damaged headlights. Restore, maintain, and protect. Mothers Powerball for Lights Headlight Restoration Kit.
The #1 new summer series is ABC's Rookie Blue.
Put the gun down.
They protect.
Please wait. He's getting away. Police!
And serve. All new ABC Thursday.
Okay.
When you're a rookie cop.
What the hell were you thinking?
Don't move. Who's
Sometimes things go sideways. It's not your fault.
protected? You. Rookie Blue is ABC's summer winner. All new Thursday at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Well, young Adam Carroll at age 27 is getting an education on what Paul Tracy can really drive like. That's Milka Duno slow on the right side as they go flying by her. he will not give you an inch, and Adam is finding that out.
And Paul Tracy goes a little bit wide just coming out of the turn. He knows it, goes to make his normal run over and says, excuse me, pardon me, but not today.
How about the view from Adam Carroll's perspective? He sees the opportunity and rightly takes it, gets up there, thinks that, okay. But he's never dealt with Paul Tracy before. Well, it's a good thing you got out of the throttle, because if they'd have touched wheels, he would have been bumped right off the track. So this battle continues. It is for 10th on the racetrack. You're not missing anything up front. Will Power still is leading. Ryan Briscoe and Dario Franchitti, the top three, have checked out on 4th place.
And Paul is driving that car to 12 tenths, not just 11 tenths, but locking the brakes up as he did. And Adam Carroll knows that he can get a shot to go past him. He just has to be patient. Cannot take himself out. Michael Andretti's already told him on the radio, just go and enjoy it.
Again, got a spin, and that is Dan Weldon in the National Guard machine. So far, that is a local yellow. Can he get it? Is it still fired? Yeah, full course cautions come out because Dan cannot get that car out of a very precarious position. Right side of your screen shows you where the race leader is on the backstretch and where Dan is at the exit of turn number 8.
And the timing for a lot of the leaders right now, we're just about ready to come into their pit window, so this will be a very busy pit lane as we ride along now with Dan Weldon. The National Guard machine goes to turn in. That was very weird. Didn't seem like anything was offline. Everything was proper. Goes to get himself into the turn, and things snaps around. Oh, well, there we go. We didn't see that on board. That's why the back end came around very easily.
That was Alex Lloyd in the number 19. And there you see the safety crew out to get the engine refired and get Dan back into this. Right now, he has, I think, lost a lap. I have to double check to see if the race leader has gone by. We're working lap number 17, and I can tell you that no, as of right now, Dan is okay. He is still on the lead lap, and everybody is setting out for what will be our first round of pit stops for all the front runners all the way through 19th place. This is also the move that both Scott Dixon needed and Elio Castanedas. We can tell you that Weldon has gotten refired. Pace car has the race leader in tow. Weldon has just gone by, start finish. Gives you an idea just how close he was to going a lap down. Tear off coming off for the number 12 of Will Power.
Pits are still closed. You can see the light flashing on the right-hand side there, so nobody will come in until the pits are officially open.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be in side by side. We'll be back in time for the pit stops here at Watkins Glen after 17 of 60 laps.
Select iPod IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Marco Andretti. Select race transport. Mission finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
Without fitting in. Introducing the Accord Cross Tour from Honda.
Ready? I got a little bit of a wedgie, but yeah.
Couples that crash together.
I can see you. You're looking good.
Win cash together.
You gonna marry her?
ABC's Wipeout Couples Edition. All new Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
I love this city.
ABC Tuesdays this fall. These are the detectives that protect this city any way they can.
You know where you are. This is homicide.
ABC's Detroit 187. Tuesdays this fall on ABC.
Back here, Watkins Glen getting ready for pit stops. The top 5, Will Power, Brian Briscoe, Dario Franchitti, Takuma Sato, and Rafael Matos. Rafi got up to 5th now. He started 11th. Now, the question is, where does everybody come out after this first round of pit stops? Big break also for Scott Dixon and Elio Castroneves. They're 20th and 23rd right now. First up's going to be Sato, Jamie Little.
And this pit stop comes about 3 laps short of their window. He says he's feeling a little understeer, but no adjustments since the call. They're going to take off the red, put on the black primary tires. Vince Welch.
Well, the 6th car of Ryan Briscoe coming in for Team Penske. They're going to the scuffed blacks. No other changes for Briscoe. He likes the balance of the car. Now that 10 car of Dario Franchitti was also in. He stayed on the black, or went from the reds to the blacks. And as far as the 12, the leader, Will Power, put on scuffed red tires. And you see the results as they leave pit lane.
Yeah, the big winners, Matos and Marias, they each pick up a spot. Sato loses 2. And Tony Kanaan, the best of all, he picks up 3 spots and is up to 7th. And looks like Ryan Hunter-Ray had a stall on pit road, so he is going to lose quite a few of those positions that he worked so hard to gain. He's going to have to go do it all again. We're going to return after this message from our ABC stations. Unless another yellow comes out. Again, punch up the field. A couple of wheels off there. That was Mario Marias right in front of Tony Kanaan. The pass going down then. That's the 22 of Justin Wilson getting around. Hideki Muto. That is for position on the racetrack. That will be a change from 13th. Behind Muto, trying to size him up as well.
Always want to take advantage of restarts because the cars are bunched together. These guys will spread up quite quickly. Adam Carroll right now looking to get a draft going down the front stretch here. On the tail, Hideki Muto, will he have a shot at doing it? Not this time.
Pretty much single file at this stage. They continue up through the S's now here at Watkins Glen. Dixon's lead over Vizo still 0.3 of a second. Tagliani's losing contact though. He's 1.2 seconds back. Here we go, a little bit further deeper in the field. That is the 7 of Danica Patrick. Right alongside.
Baguette gets it done. Nice drafting, nice timing. Gets it done cleanly.
Baguette takes over the spot, move him up to 20th, move Danica back to 21st. Let's go on on board with Danica for a little bit. You notice anything about the car, the way it's handling?
Well, I noticed when I was watching the last couple of days, it just seems like it's very nervous. And I remember talking to her just earlier in the season that she was having a car she said was sort of a setup for the other drivers. But when we're on board with her right now, you know, oh, we've got to spin up in front of us and stay there. Oh, she does a great job just to avoid that.
And it was Romancini, so Mario turns it around in the number 34. That was between turns 7 and 8. Keeps the engine running, so there will be no yellow.
One of the two cars for Conquest Racing, we already saw Bertrand Baguette go underneath Danica Patrick going down into the bus stop situation. And here, Romancini, a lot of experience on road courses, but let's see what happens here. He's on the gas, and very bumpy there, just goes around. Saw that last year with Paul Tracy, and Paul Tracy hit the inside wall.
Romancini keeps it off the wall. His best run this year, 13th back at St. Pete. Let's go on board again.
And this is difficult as a driver because you don't know exactly where to go. Man, you are not thinking about that. That's really just instinct about what to do when something like that happens in front of you.
Battle right now for 10th, Tony Kanaan with Marco Andretti and Takumo Sato. Let's go on board with Marco. You heard at the beginning of the broadcast, not happy just to be good. He wants another win. His only win is rookie year back at Sonoma. Rick, what's the latest?
I just want to mention the fact that before the race, I was talking with the team. Marco is happier with the red tires. They put the blacks on. They wanted to get them out of the way. Those primary tires. Now they're on the alternate. In fact, this was a fresh set of red tires. They actually have a scuffed inset they're willing to run because they think these red tires are going to be that much better. Also, he's running a little less wing. As a result, the goal was, because he was starting back, he thought he was going to have to pass people on straightaways, wanted that straightaway speed. As a result, he's got a little bit less wing. The goal was not to hurt him in the turns, but to give him that top end at the end of the straights.
And what he can do, because he is running a little bit less wing, a little bit less downforce, less grip in the turns, he hopes to make up for it with that softer, grippier tire. So a bit of a driver preference there for what the driver is trying to achieve for his race car for the race.
While all this continues, Scott Dixon is opening up a little bit bigger lead over E.J. Viso. It is now almost 1 full second, and here's the significance of this. Dixon has to put as much ground as he can between he and all those cars that did pit, because he's going to have to stop, if he doesn't get a yellow, about lap number 26. Mike Hall says they can go about 19 laps. He pitted back on lap 7 for the damage.
And Mike Hall, the managing director for Target Chip Ganassi Racing, knows that his driver, Scott Dixon, is very good at what we call making fuel mileage. You just roll onto the throttle coming out of the turns, maybe ease off it a little sooner going into the turns, keep the speed up through the turns, not drag the car, slow the car down. Great at making fuel mileage and just keeping the speed up.
Well, he's got the hammer down. Scott Dixon will be soon heading to pit lane. There's the top 5 as it is the 4th of July weekend. And we are going as fast as we can at Watkins Glen.
Select iGuard IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Tony Kanaan. Select race transport. Mission finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
Yeah, I'm gonna go daddy need a place for my cheese, teas, wasabi peas, and a whole lot of these. Nuts! What? Need a domain for my romaine lettuce. Set us up with a dope storefront. Process transactions, shopping cart actions. GoDaddy's hosting, and yo, I'm coasting, roasting special beans. Do you know what I mean? Get online! GoDaddy!
Go get left behind! Simple to build websites start at less than $5 a month. Right now at GoDaddy.com.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
You know what 2:30 in the afternoon feels like, right? Sleepy? Groggy? Dying for a nap? What do? Run for the coffee? Grab a soda? But how long does that last before you're back for more? Try this instead. Take 1 5-hour energy, then see what the rest of your day feels like. Sure won't feel like 2:30 anymore. Or 3:30. Or 4:30. 5-hour energy. Hours of energy now, no 2:30 feeling later.
IndyCar Nation, why aren't you a member yet?
Follow me behind the scenes.
Free timing and scoring. Free live video streaming. New and improved member benefits. Why aren't you a member yet?
Visit IndyCar.com. Enjoy IndyCar Nation today.
ESPN's coverage of the IZOD IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen on ABC. Brought to you by Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD IndyCar Series. GoDaddy.com, domains, websites, and everything in between. And Firestone, the first name in Indy racing.
Back here at Watkins Glen, E.J. Vizo currently running in second place, but he has to make a pit stop, and the word is he may be coming this time by, and yes, he is. So we expect Scott Dixon to be following maybe within another lap. Jamie Little, he's heading your way.
Well, he's pitting because the last pit stop for him was lap 6. They got him off pit sequence. He wants more turn on that front wing. They're putting on another set of sticker red tires. Remember, he did not qualify yesterday. He had 3 sets of sticker red. That is a dream for these drivers. And E.J. Vizo right now, car is good, guys.
So he is back out on track. There is your race leader, Scott Dixon. Now his lead over Will Power, who is in third place, and that's the number you got to remember. There you can see the gap visually is 7.9 seconds. And he is trying to gap him as much as possible. See, look behind, there's Rafa Matos. He's got his mirrors full of Dario Franchitti, one of the best battles we've got going on the racetrack right now as we are working lap number 26 of 60.
And Dixon probably will have to come in this time, as you're mentioning, Marty. And for guys like Will Power and everybody that pitted way back on about lap 18, they'll probably get all the way to lap 36 or 37 before they will need to stop again if we continue under green.
Yeah, let's reset it for you in case you're just tuning in. Scott Dixon has to stop here very soon. He is first, so does Elio Castroneves. Remember, they had that lap 7 contact. Will Power is third, Ryan Briscoe fourth, Rafa Matos fifth, Dario Franchitti and Mario Marias 6th and 7th. There they are in your screen. Let's take a look at our Firestone lap leaders up to the point right now, and you can see that Will Power has dominated in that category, leading 18. Scott Dixon has led the other 7. And I'm really impressed right now as we're working lap number 27. Number 9 still out there. A 4-second lead over Castroneves and a 9-second lead now over Will Power. So the gap has been widening, and this is exactly what he needs as we go on board with Marco Andretti in 9th position.
Great section of the racetrack coming up that hill, that 80-foot climb. Here's where you hope you're close enough to the car in front to get a draft and maybe have a shot on going underneath the car into the bus stop. But for Marco Andretti, he does not. His teammate Tony Kanaan in the 711 machine is dressed directly up ahead of him. And in front of Tony Kanaan, Mario Marias. Good battle going on right now between these 3 drivers, just about pretty even. Someone's going to have to mistake for one of those guys to be able to go on past.
Down into the booth. As we said, we're working lap number 27 and waiting to see what happens. Boy, Marco took a little bit of a scenic route there. That's the toe of the boot. Now they make the long climb up towards turn number 8. Further back, checking in on Dan Weldon and Hideki Muta. They're running in 14th and 15th position. We got word that they had a bit of a moment a while back. Weldon's already had one moment right there in turn number 8. Turn the car around. Go back, take a look. On board with Weldon.
Into that bumpy section right here. This is exactly where he had the problem before. Ruto a little bit wide. Dan Weldon gets the opportunity and takes it.
So, doesn't go all the way around, no contact, but he does pick up the spot. And we continue on with another lap, and now working lap 28. So Scott Dixon getting extremely good fuel mileages. There you see the 37. Ryan Hunter-Reay getting around Paul Tracy. So move Ryan up to 17th. Paul Tracy back to 18th. Remember, Ryan stalled the car coming out of pit lane, and that's why he fell back on board with Danica Patrick. She's running in 19th.
Just ahead of her is Paul Tracy, you know, and maybe a younger Paul Tracy would have made that just a little bit harder for Ryan Hunter-Reay, but since he's not been in the series full time, maybe he's looking just to make sure he gets to the end, because the younger Paul Tracy certainly made it very difficult for drivers to get past.
All right, let me put the question to you as here we go. Danica Patrick takes a look down on the inside, cannot make the pass. Can tell you that Scott Dixon and Helio Castroneves are laid out for pit stops. Now, remember, we are working lap 28. They came in on lap 7 after having the contact, and here he comes. So 21 laps. A couple more than we first heard from Mike Hull. He thought they'd make 19, maybe 20 if they were lucky. But it looks like Dixon is going to make it to 21. Vince, he's coming your way.
They really like the way Scott Dixon's race car is handling. Of course, you noted that earlier incident, the contact with Helio Castroneves. The 9 car of Dixon, they're going to put on the black tires, sticker tires, no other changes with that car. Dixon is off, and Helio Castroneves is in as well. Castroneves went to the red scuff tires, the red scuffs for Helio.
So remember, we talk about the in-lap and the out-lap being so important. Look at this. Milka Duno coming out of pit road also, or by pit road, almost collects Helio as he's on the hammer. He gets around her.
Well, Helio was coming out and directly behind Milka, and he had to make that move because she is so slow to get up to speed. And right now he's in the battle with Danica Patrick, who's out on warm tires. What will Helio do? The smart thing is to probably let her go. Don't flat spot your tires because they're cold. Then you have to spend the whole segment on tires that would be vibrating.
But what I was saying was Helio set the best lap of the race on his in-lap for that pit stop, the lap right before. So he was all in the mail. Can he get back to the front? We'll find out.
Ever feel like it's just better to blend in and go with the flow? Neither do we. The Mitsubishi Lancer, with twin paddle shifters to reignite your passion for driving. Lancer is backed by our 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty that beats Mazda 3, Honda Civic, and Toyota Corolla today and for years to come. This 4th of July weekend, get 0% financing for 60 months on the Mitsubishi of your choice. See your Mitsubishi dealer today, because this offer ends July 6th.
For the millions living with COPD, breathing becomes a real struggle. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, but you may have heard of it as chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Over time, it makes it harder and harder to breathe until you feel like you're breathing through a straw. COPD is the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S. It kills 1 person every 4 minutes, and it took my grandmother. An estimated 24 million Americans are affected, but as many as half of them don't even know it. It's a race against time to spread the word about this serious disease. If you're over 35 and have ever smoked, you could be at risk. The good news is, there are steps you can take to improve your symptoms. I'm Danica Patrick, and I drive for COPD. Take action today to breathe better tomorrow. Join the movement at driveforcopd.com. Take our screening questionnaire today and talk to your doctor.
Nightfall is the time for romance.
I've never felt this way before. I love you.
On ABC's new Summer Sunday.
Are you flirting with me?
How's the new job? Has he hit on you yet?
ABC's Scoundrels. And
I think it's about time you started breaking some rules.
Falling in love behind these gates.
I know you kissed him.
Could be bad for your health.
Any male she comes in contact with could be in mortal danger.
ABC's The Gates. 2 new tempting dramas.
They love it.
Next Sunday starting at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Tuesday, couples that crash together win cash together. It's ABC's Wipeout Couples Edition. 12 couples compete in the world's largest extreme obstacle course, taking on obstacles like Big Balls, the Shapeshifter, and the Blob. ABC's Wipeout Couples Edition. It's Tuesday, 8, 7 Central. Paul Tracy is in, Rick.
They decided to change strategies as a result of bringing in. They're doing a short fill, sending them back out with no major adjustments. The idea is shift things around and see if you can't really rattle the cage, go with a different strategy, and hopefully on the back end it'll pay off.
Well, we're right at halfway at 30 laps, so he's going to have to stop one more time. We'll see if that pays off for him. Right now, the race lead belongs to Will Power, and if he can make the fuel economy that he is, we think that he might be able to sneak it on home with one more stop. And one bad news to report, Alex Lloyd is out of the race. Jamie, you've caught up with him?
Yes, we have. He's out of the car. In his pit box, we heard you mention something about steering, that it couldn't steer anymore. What happened?
Yeah, we think, we're not entirely sure. We think we may have a steering rack problem. We started having some strange things happening after the first pit stop, and then we came in, thought we changed tires and see if that cured it. Then all of a sudden the steering locked, and it was almost like in a road car when you lose your power steering. It was, so something must have broken in the steering. We couldn't find it in pit lane, so that's us for the day. So real shame, because the Boy Scouts America car was going pretty well, and we were moving through the field pretty well, and I felt like we were a top 10 car, but it's been a frustrating weekend with a couple of little issues here and there, and a disappointing day.
All right, Alex Lloyd's first race here at the Glen is over early. Marty?
All right, thanks, Jamie.
Well, you know, and I think, Marty, right now, when you think about a steering rack, maybe it was that contact he had with Dan Weldon in the turn that knocked the steering rack off, because you get the left front wheel hitting the rear of another car, then it's usually the front end that takes the suffering on that.
As you finish up that point, take a look at Marias, Kanan, Andretti. We go on board with Adam Carroll. He's in 9th. And the other three that we just talked about are right in front of him. This is a great battle on the racetrack.
You can see how hard these drivers are pushing the cars, because there's one prime line that you're trying to, the turning point, the clipping point at the apex and the exit, and you can see these guys driving in so hard sometimes, as Marco Andretti wants to let his teammate Tony Kanaan know that I'm here. He's trying to fill up his mirrors, but these guys are sometimes running a different line through some of the turns, only from the fact that they're trying to push the car so hard, sliding underneath them.
I think Marco's trying to tell Tony, I'm faster, let me through.
Absolutely. He's been doing that for quite a few laps. Probably a little frustration on his side.
Well, that was Mario Marias leading this pack of 5. Right behind him is Kanan Andretti. Now Justin Wilson has gotten around Adam Carroll. Head down into turn number 1. There you see Wilson right in front of Carroll. Back on board with the 27-year-old from Northern Ireland. Check back up front, because Will Power is now 0.8 of a second in front of Ryan Briscoe. And Rafi Matos has a great run going. He's 3 seconds back, Jamie Little.
Yes, and he's running 3rd right now, but we just got word from Jill DeFerrin, a co-owner of the team. He said Rafa has lost all telemetry on his car. They're not sure what's going on. They can't see anything from here on the pit box. All they can do is communicate with him over the radio, so we will keep an eye on the 2 car.
Well, that would be a tough break if that develops into a bigger problem, but right now he is doing a very nice job of driving 3 seconds behind the race lead. And of course, that was Jill DeFerrin, one of the team principals of that number 2 Honda Dallara. Let's talk a little bit while we got a chance. As you can see, 28 laps to go here. With Will Power out in front, and get you caught up with the calendar. NASCAR Nationwide Series will be at Chicago. We'll have it on Friday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Then on Saturday, NHRA Northwest Nationals qualifying on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern. On Sunday, it'll be the finals on ESPN2 at 11:30 Eastern time. And what about the IndyCar Series? Well, the IZOD Series will stop at Toronto Sunday, July 18th, 2 weeks, 12:30 Eastern on ABC. We'll return after this message from our ABC stations.
Happy 4th of July.
And a happy 4th of July to you guys, and welcome back here to Watkins Glen International. That is our race leader, Will Power, by 1.3 seconds. over his teammate at Team Penske, Ryan Briscoe, and Rafi Matos running a career best third right now, doing a great job.
And for Will Power, he has dropped down a mile an hour the lap previous to this. He just dropped down 2 miles an hour on the lap he just completed. So is he trying to stretch his fuel mileage just a little longer? By my calculations, originally he probably would have to have come in somewhere around lap 37, just about 2 laps from now. If he can get himself to maybe lap 39, would there be a possibility he could come in and get that one last stop and maybe get to the end? That's the question that's probably going on right now in the Penske pits.
Well, and you also notice on the drop down, the push to pass. We've seen a lot of guys using it. Will Power has used it. There's a total of 12 in your bank, and it lasts a total of 22 seconds. He's used it 5 times. Ryan Briscoe has used it 4 times. So he has 8 remaining. Rafi Matos of the top 3 has used it the most. He only has 5 pushes left.
And push to pass, as we mentioned before, you get the opportunity to use it, and it lasts 22 seconds. An extra 10 horsepower, uses a couple hundred extra RPM, also uses more fuel. So if you're trying to make some fuel mileage here, you're probably not going to be that anxious to go ahead and use it.
Let's look a little bit further back. We had this battle going on right before the break. And there's Mario Moraes. He has got a great run going as well. He is up to 5th. His best finish so far this year was 6th back at Long Beach.
And Marco Andretti came up the hill, almost ran into the back of Tony Kanaan, had to lock the brakes up. And that in turn has put Justin Wilson right on his tail, running a bit of a defensive line through 10 and 11. Although I do think Marco is a little bit quicker at this time.
One car taking a dive into pit lane. We saw that in the back there. And it looks like it's actually Takuma Sato that has come into pit lane. And Danica Patrick is following as well. Let's send it to Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, Danica Patrick bringing it in. They're going to put on the red alternate tires. She's been running with a higher downforce setting. She wanted a more comfortable car, but apparently a higher downforce, perhaps not as much speed, more comfort. They do make a change on the right front wing, and she's out.
Sato also comes out behind her. There you can see out the rear view. There he is coming down pit lane as well. So they'll rejoin the battle. We'll sort out their positions. And look at the action that we still have going as Adam Carroll is fighting with Justin Wilson. That is for 8th position as they head into the toe of the boot. Climb up that hill. It's about 60 to 75 feet from the base of the boot all the way up to that top. Carroll takes a peek on the inside of turn 8, says, nah, I better not try it right now, and ends up costing him a little bit more distance on the exit.
Very difficult to pass Justin Wilson with all his road course experience that he has of various tracks around the world. One of the smoothest drivers you'll ever see pilot a race car around the circuit. Just watch how close he gets to the lines. Uses up all the distance of the racetrack, and as Adam Carroll then peels in for his pit stop.
So Adam Carroll, and he is the very first pit stall on entry. So the Boost team goes to work. Now, he is not scheduled to race at Toronto in 2 weeks. Uh-oh, trouble on the right rear.
Difficulty, and we see that the Reds they took off, they're going on with brand new black tires, the standard tire.
And while all this is going on, he comes back out onto the racetrack. And we can tell you Will Power's lead, 1.7 seconds.
Also, we're on lap 37, which by calculations we thought he would at least get to. How much further can he make it? Could he get as great a fuel mileage as we saw with Scott Dixon? Will he be able to eke out those extra couple of laps and a chance to maybe get far enough in this race so he can have that one and last stop?
One of the things I just noticed, Scott, he has used 2 more push to passes in an effort to open up some more ground, perhaps, getting ready for this pit stop. He is coming up on Milcaduno right now.
Pit lane.
And he is going to bring it into pit lane
on 37.
So that's doing the math. That's going to be tough. At 21 more laps, puts you at 59. And Vince, you're going to be busy because Briscoe's coming in right behind him.
Looking at the car of Will Power, he was your leader prior to the pit stop. Now Briscoe, red stickers for Power, red sticker tires for Power, and for Briscoe, they left turn of front wing, so both the Penske cars have now gone to red sticker tires.
And a gaggle of cars have come in, including Rafa Matos. He has already made his stop. He's back out. Justin Wilson is in. Ryan Hunter-Ray is in. Here's Tony Kanaan, Mario Moraes. He has made his stop. And this all happening with 22 laps to go. So this is going to come down to fuel strategy again. Here comes Wilson. They're 3 wide. That's Hideki Muto in the middle. Simona Di Silvestro behind.
And in that exchange there with the Penske teams, Briscoe got out in front of Power. You saw Will Power get an extra turn of front wing during that pit stop. And that's probably why he wanted to have a shot at opening up that gap to his teammate Briscoe, because he knew he had to take a moment just to have that wing adjustment.
Dario Franchitti is your race leader right now by 1.1 seconds over Dan Weldon. Now, Franchitti's last pit stop was on lap 18. They are making excellent fuel mileage. He is laid out. So is Dan Weldon. Saw the about the 6 pit stalls further back on that shot. And here comes the race leader. So Franchitti coming in here with now 21 laps to go as he goes by this time. And if they can do this, this will be their last stop, Vince. He's coming your way.
Dario Franchitti going to go to the red scuffed tires for Franchitti. Remember, he's already won the Indianapolis 500 this year. He's had good runs here at Watkins Glen, but he's never been able to win the race. His hero, Jim Clark, won it 3 times. Dario hopes today is his day. As we got a yellow now incident on the track.
Simona Di Silvestro has crashed coming out of the boot. There you see on the right of your screen where she is on the track, and the damage on the left side is severe enough that it's going to end her day.
And one answer we now know, as we're going to watch a replay here of Simona coming through the turn on the gas, a little bit wide by the looks of it. The back end comes around. She counter steers. The car then grips and pitches her into the Armco barrier. But Marty, right now with this yellow, everybody that has pitted will be good to go to the end. As you see up in front of you as we ride aboard with Danica Patrick right now, the car steps out a little bit. She counter steers, and then it collects itself and gets the grip and goes back into the Armco.
One more look at it. Simona's best finish this year, 14th back at the Indianapolis 500. She's not going to be happy with when she sees that video. Tough break for the 78 team, and she's okay. And we will go side by side. We'll reset it for you when we come back.
If you know passion, you know my name. If the roar of a race car gives you goosebumps. If you believe that no one ever remembers who comes in second. If you're into checkered flags, chugging milk, burning rubber, you know my name. If you've ever pressed your nose to a chain link fence to get a closer look, if you own a pair of earplugs, if you know Andretti, Rehhoff, and Unser, you know my name. You know my name because I've been here from the very beginning. As vital today as I was over 100 years ago. 100 miles to go. I am a powerhouse. I am running wide open with no finish line in sight. I am the fire that never goes out. You know my name. I am then, I am now, I am forever. I am Firestone, and I am proud.
This brickyard runs on sugar.
Sweet sugarcane ethanol.
It's an advanced biofuel recognized by the EPA
because it cuts greenhouse emission by 60% compared to gasoline.
And it can save you money at the pump. Fast and sweet and clean and lovely, the fuel from sugar cane goes racing. I can dance. Nah, I cannot sing. But one thing we can agree, we race on ethanol.
ABC Tuesday, drop in and see why over 17 million viewers are taking the plunge. All new at 8/7 Central, it's Wipeout Couples Edition. If they can make it through this course together, it'll be wedded bliss.
You gonna marry her?
Then, at 9/8 Central, in the wildest game of trivia, not only can this woman lose these prizes off a skyscraper, but also her daughter.
I'm sorry.
An all-new Downfall. It all starts Tuesday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Round the bases with ESPN Sunday and Monday night. First, Torrey Hunter and the Angels host the Kansas City Royals a week out from the beginning of the All-Star Weekend on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. And then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball 7 Eastern is Troy Glaus and the Braves against Roy Halladay and the Phillies. Both games available on ESPN3.com. Under our second caution here at Watkins Glen, the contact for Simona Di Silvestro. There you see E.J. Vizo's crew laid out. We can also tell you the 9 of Scott Dixon is ready. Remember, they had problems earlier in the race. This was pretty much a tough break for them because now when they do make the stop, they'll be at the very back of the cars that are still out on the track, and that's 22 of them. The Firestone Indy Lights Series race took place earlier this afternoon here at the Glen, a 30-lap main event, and let's take a look at how they finished. J.K. Vernet had a great battle going on with James Hinchcliffe. It's his 3rd race out of the 6 starts this season that he has won. He also won at St. Pete and at Barber, and we congratulate him on a top 5 finish and another win in the Firestone Indy Lights Series. Still under caution, and you mentioned it right before the break, Scott. Everybody that was going to be about a lap or 2 short, this extended caution is going to open that window. There is Scott Dixon. He is going to have to peel off and make his final stop. Elio Castroneves follows, so does E.J. Vizo. Vince, you've got one more assignment, buddy. Get those 2 in and out for us, will you?
Well, these 2 cars still paying for the fact that they had that early contact that caused them to pit on lap 7. Elio's going to the sticker red tires, so that'll take care of his obligation from that perspective. Scott Dixon going to the sticker blacks, and there's the race off pit lane.
Dana Patrick also came. Justin Wilson, we're hearing, also made a stop, and the 77 of Alex Tagliani, he short pitted early. That backfired on his strategy as well. So we're still under yellow. We'll reset the field for you when we come back here to the Glen.
Select iZod IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Ryan Hunter Ray. Select race transport. Mission, finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
My boyfriend has one.
My girlfriend, my older sister.
She has 2 kids.
My college roommate who lives up north.
My mom. My mom. My neighbors.
Our neighbors.
My daughter.
My daughter.
We were in the same class in elementary school. My boyfriend.
My parents.
Our parents. My lovely wife.
And my husband has one.
Yeah, as well as a fellow I work with.
My girlfriend, she moved out east.
I'm a city girl.
Everybody knows somebody who loves a Honda. Who do you know?
Tuesday at 10/9 Central on ABC. Every family keeps secrets, but some you'd never, ever expect. Behind doors that look so normal. Shame, betrayal, and oh, the lies. And the secrets this family hid for years.
This was a house just full of secrets.
Will simply take your breath away.
No, I don't.
This Tuesday, shh, their secret's out. Primetime's Family Secrets is back, starting this Tuesday at 10/9 Central on ABC.
The #1 new summer series is ABC's Rookie Blue, and they promise to protect and serve, but rookie cops can't promise anything. ABC's Rookie Blue, it's all new Thursday at 9, 8 Central on ABC. Under our second caution, if you're wondering what the record is for the fewest number of cautions here at the Glen, it is 3. The most we've ever had was 7. Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes was so popular, they wanted to create 2 more opportunities for fans to win. Go to shophonda.com. Sign up for your chance now to start at either Chicagoland Speedway or Homestead Miami Speedway in the Izod IndyCar 2-seater, and it's driven by Mario Andretti. All right, let's talk a little strategy, and who better to talk with than the man who leads Team Penske, Vince?
That's right, Roger. Ryan Briscoe on the point. Pitted lap 38, so you got 22 to get to the end. Do you have enough to get to the end?
Oh, yeah, I think we're in great shape because we've had 4 or 5 yellows here. Went yellow right away. We got our track position, so it's a matter of just holding off Will and Dario. It's going to be a fight to the finish.
You put front wing in the car on that last stop. How's the car handling?
Well, we did that because of the red tires. You got a little more understeer, so it's just a matter to balance the car.
There you go, Roger Penske, and talking about those adjustments, they did go to the red stickers, remember. Those are better for the shorter run, typically, as compared to the blacks that will hold up, supposedly, theoretically, more durable over the course of the long run. But, Scott, I know a lot of drivers talked about at the end of this race last year, they felt like the reds and the blacks, there wasn't a lot of difference in racing circumstances. There was on the restarts, but not once they really got going and heated up.
And that's maybe a little bit different this year because of the heat that we have. It is very hot here, but no matter what they have underneath them, Vince, you can tell we're going to have a great show here because these 3 top drivers are going to go after the victory.
All right, let's find out what happened to Simona Di Silvestro, Jamie.
Yeah, she's here at her pit box now, a little frustrated. You had a good run going up until that point. What happened?
Yeah, I made a big mistake. We went out after a pit stop. I had a pretty good pit stop and tried to make a little bit too much time in turn 7, and the rear tire just snapped, and it put me in the wall. It's a really big shame because we're really moving forward. We had a little bit of trouble in qualifying, but the race was going really well for us, and I made this huge mistake. So I feel really bad for Team HVM, but they did a great job the whole weekend, and we're going to get them the next race for sure, but really disappointed with this.
All right, thanks, Simona. Glad she's okay, guys. This was her first start at Watkins Glen.
And then one more view of it from on board with Danica Patrick, and Simona will be back in Toronto. All right, let's reset it for you. It is Ryan Briscoe. Remember, he finished 2nd here last year. He's in front of Will Power, Dario Franchitti, Rafa Matos, Dan Weldon in 5th, Mario Moraes, Tony Kanaan, Marco Andretti. That's your top 8 as they come out of turn number 11. We are back to green flag racing here at the Glen.
And Will Power got a good start. He was in 2nd. The leader, Briscoe, did not get away that much. A little bit deeper under braking into 1. Will Power gets a little closer to Briscoe, uses up all the track. He knows he's going to have to get a run going up the hill. They both have the red tires on, both are team cars. Both going to go the same speed down the straight. Will he get a draft here and have a shot?
Push to pass being used by both of them. They're down to 4 left, and look at the inside. Here comes Power going into the bus stop. He's retaken the lead. That'll be our 5th lead change between 4 different drivers, and Will Power has the bit between his teeth.
Give Will Power credit because he did a great job getting right up behind Briscoe in the restart. Remember last year in all the restarts, the person who was ever in 2nd, and especially at the end with Justin Wilson, they did not get a good restart, and the leader always just took off. You have to be on the tail of the car in front on a restart.
Oh, Rafa Matos gets a little wiggle climbing up out of the boot. And then Dan Weldon drops a couple of wheels off, kicking up some dust. What's the latest on Weldon, Rick?
Well, for Dan Weldon, timing is everything. They came in, made their last stop right before the yellow flag came out. As a result, they were able to move up in line, and they are good to go to the finish with the fuel they've got. And not only are they good to go, but they're good to go and race at the same time. As you see, he keeps trying to line up Matos. Think about this. He had that spin earlier when he had the contact with Alex Lloyd. At that point, they thought the race was going to be way in the back. Now he's through luck and through positioning has managed to get himself into that top 5.
Yeah, fuel should not be an issue now with this last caution that we just went through. John Barnes, he looks on from the pit box and watches his driver Dan Weldon currently holding station in 5th position.
And Weldon is on the red tires, which we know offers a little bit more grip. Chasing Matos, which is on the black. Will there be an advantage to Weldon?
In fact, everybody is on red except Matos that are in the top 10. Looking on the inside, there's Ryan Hunter-Reay taking a peek inside, getting around his teammate Tony Kanaan through the bus stop. So move Ryan Hunter-Reay up a position into 8th, Tony back to 9th. Marco Andretti right in front of that group, and on the last restart, this was heading down about a lap ago.
Perfect timing, nice clean pass. It looks like Tony's having some difficulty getting onto the back straight at speed, because that's where the passing is happening on him.
For more on Marco Andretti, let's check in with Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, we were just talking about fuel, and we were saying everybody's good to go. Well, in checking with the team, they're saying maybe. I asked, is he good to go the distance? They looked up and he said, well, I'll tell you in about 16 laps or so. They're concerned at this point that they may not be able to go the distance. But at this time, they've decided they're just going to go for it. They give them the green light, go as hard as you can. At this point, they either make it or they don't.
Well, he last pitted on lap 38, which is exactly what almost everybody else did. And then a couple others pitted at 39 and then lap 40 when we had the caution. So theoretically, he should be able to be okay and make it the rest of the distance with the extra laps that we had under that last caution. You can see that Ryan Hunter-Reay is burned out on push to pass. We'll double check that. Marco Andretti has 4 remaining.
Once the push to pass is gone, but he doesn't look like he's going to need it right now. He gets that draft on Marco Andretti. Who outbreak who? Teammates there again. Marco Andretti does not let him get through. And Ryan Hunter-Reay was smart, didn't push the issue. Might have been a little bit different. It was the very last lap.
Well, we have confirmed he is out of push to pass. There is a maximum of 12. He's used them all. So from here on out, it's up to Ryan Hunter-Reay. What's the latest you're hearing from Ryan's pit, Rick?
Well, think about the extremes that he's gone through. As a result of stalling in the pits, they were at the very back. At one point, they were trying to work on a fuel strategy, but now they've done the same strategy with everybody. Things have cycled through. They're in a much better position as a result. They've given them the green light to go. And as once again, the guy in front of him, they've said, you have the green light to go. Ryan Hunter-Reay, really, no matter what happens today, he knows he comes out a winner, because they had that news conference earlier today where they announced that he's going to have sponsorship to go through the rest of the season no matter what happens. And it's not just sponsorship. They're also starting a website called Racing for Cancer. It's a foundation. It's going to be raising money for cancer at the same time. So not only did he get the sponsorship, but he's got a great cause he's going to be racing for the rest of the season. Now he just needs to get the goods and the results.
And his car number's 37. They want 37 people to donate $37,000 each. And guess who stepped up first? Teammate Tony Kanaan. That's pretty cool. 14 laps to go. Will Power. Does he break the jinx and become the first pole sitter to win in the Eyes on IndyCar Series? Look at the action going on behind before we go to break. Yes, change in position. Franchitti gets around Briscoe. So, we'll keep you posted. This is getting real good. We'll return after this message from our ABC stations. Got a lot coming up on the motorsports menu. How about the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Chicago? That's Friday night. That's right, Friday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. A lot of drag racing next week. We'll have NHRA Northwest Nationals. It's qualifying Saturday at 10 Eastern. The final Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Both those on ESPN2. And then the Eyes on IndyCar Series 2 weeks from now will be back on ABC. Sunday, July 18th, 12:30 Eastern Time. Back here at Watkins Glen, we have 12 laps remaining. Will Power is in front of Dario Franchitti by 9/10 of a second. It's another full second back to Ryan Briscoe in third. Now, he's got 2 road course wins so far this year. Leads the road course championship points, leads the overall points as well. Here was the first one back at Brazil.
A brand new track for everybody. Everybody's excited to go over there. Will Power, the master of road courses and street circuits. And you see him win here also at St. Petersburg. A lot of road courses on our schedule here over the next few races. Look for him to continue to pad his points lead.
Has not relinquished the road course championship points lead. The overall, of course, Dario Franchitti led after the Texas race. All right, let's talk a little bit about fuel strategy for the rest of this race. Vince, what are you hearing for Power?
Well, Will Power leads Dario Franchitti by a little less less than a second, but Dario pitted a lap later than Will, so Power needs to be a little bit more conservative with fuel, although they believe that he's got enough fuel to get to the end, so he doesn't have to be so conservative that he's going to have to back off of it drastically to lose that lead. But also Dario has 6 push to pass remaining, while Power has just 4. So an extra lap of fuel and 2 extra push to pass. Can it make the difference for Dario Franchitti? We're about to find out.
As we always like to say, stay tuned. Good report. Brings us right up to date on the top 2. Briscoe is losing contact with these two. You can see the gap. It's widening.
And we heard from Roger Penske that he does not have a fuel issue, so it shouldn't be that he's trying to save fuel. It did look like his car after the last pit stop was maybe not as comfortable for him. Looked like it was a little bit nervous on entry to turn, so maybe he doesn't have the same car underneath him that he had before the pit stop.
Briscoe only has 2 push to pass available. A little bit further back in 4th position is Rafa Matos. He has 5 push to pass. Here he comes into view with Dan Weldon all over him, but Weldon has used them all. Let's get an update on first Matos, Jamie.
Well, Matos, first driver there in the top 4 that had flex. Now they still have that telemetry issue, so the team really doesn't know if they're good on fuel or not. Of course, they're just telling their driver, conserve fuel right now. And as you said, he does have 5 push to passes left, so you have to keep your eye on that too. Rick?
You know, for Dan Weldon, it's really been kind of a rough weekend. During qualifying, they did not get the qualifying they wanted because they had a bolt that sheared off in the steering unit. As a result, the car was towing in, creating too much drag. He couldn't figure out why he couldn't get any top-end speed, even though they had it set out with the wings to give him that top-end speed. They were able to fix that last night. They were very confident going in today that he could move up, and as has been shown, he's doing well. By the way, if you take a look at that helmet he's wearing, that was actually designed by a child at St. Vincent's Children's Hospital in Indiana. Every year around Indy time, he goes to the hospital, has a child, makes some designs, and he's wearing that design on his helmet. You see the top of it right there, designed by one of the kids at St. Vincent's Hospital. Marty?
Great story. Thanks, Rick, for sharing it with everybody. As you take a look at the race leader, Will Power. He is continuing now to lead Dario Franchitti by 1.1 seconds. The owner of that number 10 car is Chip Ganassi. He's with Vince.
Chip, 5 push to pass available for Dario, 4 for Will. You've got an extra lap of fuel. Enough laps left to catch him?
I think so, Vince. You know, it's we're doing the same thing. Counting the fuel, counting the laps, counting the buttons left. You know, it's going to be a good race to the end, I can tell you.
Dario charging, guys. That lap for Will Power, that lead for Will Power, right at a second.
All right, thanks, Vince. And we've had a total of 4 different leaders, 5 lead changes. Will we have one more before the end of this race? Here's our Firestone lap leaders. Powers led the most, 35. Scott Dixon, Ryan Briscoe, and Dario Franchitti. We'll go side by side as the laps wind down. 10 to go here at the Glen.
Bacon lover, what's better than Wendy's fresh cooked applewood smoked bacon? Falling in love over and over and over, because now there's 3 ways to fall: the Bacon Deluxe, the Bacon in Blue, and the Baconator.
You know when it's real. Ever feel like it's just better to blend in and go with the flow? Neither do we. The Mitsubishi Lancer, with twin paddle shifters to reignite your passion for driving. Lancer is backed by our 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty that beats Mazda 3, Honda Civic, and Toyota Corolla today and for years to come. This 4th of July weekend, get 0% financing for 60 months on the Mitsubishi of your choice. See your Mitsubishi dealer today, because this offer ends July 6th.
Summertime is Frosty time. For just 99 cents, treat yourself to a real original. Wendy's Frosty is made with fresh cream and 100% real cocoa. It's the original. Creamy, cool, classic. Now only 99 cents, and only at Wendy's.
at Iowa Speedway. Sebastian Saavedra starting on the pole.
Sebastian Saavedra got a great jump. Car into the wall, and that is Charlie Kimball.
Sebastian has to deal with this lap traffic in front of him, and here comes Martin Plowman and J.K. Vernet.
Saavedra makes a move to the bottom side of Clark. Plowman is right there with him. Clark's going to move right in front of the 27 machine of Martin Plowman, cutting off. Now Plowman gets to the low side. Ryan Herta and Sebastian Saavedra will roll into victory lane here at Iowa Speedway.
IndyCar Nation, why aren't you a member yet?
Follow me behind the scenes.
Free timing and scoring. Free live video streaming. New and improved member benefits. Why aren't you a member yet?
Visit IndyCar.com. Enjoy IndyCar Nation today.
ESPN Sunday and Monday Night Baseball coming up. First, we've got the Angels hosting the Royals. It's a week out from the beginning of the All-Star weekend. It's on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, it is the Braves and the Phillies. Both games available on ESPN3.com. You saw on side-by-side the pass by Scott Dixon around Marco Andretti. That put Dixon into ninth. Andretti back to 10th, but Dixon is now down to just one push to pass remaining. And Marco has 4. Nothing has changed up front. Race lead is still held by Will Power. This has been some of the best action we've had the last few laps.
And for Dixon, he used it originally as a defensive move to Helio Castroneves, and then he used it as a defensive move, and then he used it as an offensive move to get around Marco Andretti, and now he's stretched a little bit of a lead out, so now he's going to try and chase down Tony Kanaan.
And that would be for 8th position if he can get there. And looks like Helio's got a good run potentially going as we move a little bit further. There's Dan Weldon. He's got his mirrors full as well. Down into the booth. 7 laps remaining here at the Glen. Weldon, we told you he is out of push to pass. His battle with Marias is for the 4th position. He holds it. Marias would like to get it. Right in front of them is Rafi Matos.
Matos has done a great job. He won the Indy Lights race here last year. Gilles de Ferran very high on this driver. And Rafa just really excited about having the opportunity to work with a team that's continuing, it's growing, it's building. A one-car team, though, that's the difficulty you have when you get to new circuits or you get to a circuit where your car's not working. You don't have the opportunity to get some information from a teammate. So we see co-owner Gilles de Ferran on the right-hand side of the screen. If they can make this team a 2-car team next year, watch for this team to continue to build with owners Gilles de Ferran and Jay Penske.
Rafi right there in 4th position. That was Jay right there standing alongside of Gilles. Behind him, Dan Weldon, Mario Marias. A little bit further back, Ryan Hunter-Reay has worked his way back. Remember, he stalled the car on pit lane. He is now running in 7th position. There's Tony Kanaan going through in 8th. Scott Dixon there in 9th. Helio Castroneves. And what's happened to Marco Andretti? He has dropped 2 positions in the last 2 laps, and he's under attack again from Justin Wilson.
Car's not working for him. When you don't come off the last turn and get your speed going up the hill, that's usually a cornering issue, and you're not very comfortable with the car. So he does not seem to be able to get onto the power as quickly as everybody else to carry that speed out of turn 1 up through the hill and down that backstretch.
Marco was looking really good at the beginning of the day, but right now finds himself in 12th position and going south.
Spoke to them earlier just in the garage area, and I think they were all very optimistic because he has run well here previously and looking for a better finish today, but that's not going to be the case.
Can you hear anything? See anything?
A little bit of coasting into the turn. Bert, usually you're down to the turn, hard on the brake, banging through the gears, and right back on the gas, but right now he seems conceded that he does not have a car underneath him that's going to work very well, so he's trying to click off the laps by the sound of it.
There is one more potential answer. Maybe he is being told that he is using too much fuel.
Well, you know, you brought up a point that, you know, he was in the same category as everybody else as far as in-lap was concerned, so were they getting all the fuel into the car? Was it getting completely filled up for the 22 gallons. Remember, last year with Justin Wilson, they were only getting 19 gallons of fuel into the car, so maybe he did not get a full tank.
All right, let's check back in on the race lead, because you see Dario Franchitti has used the push to pass. He is down to 2. Remember when he was like at 5? He is trying to close the gap because he knows that the laps are winding down, Vince.
Well, and that lead has stretched to almost a second and a half now for Will Power. Remember when it was down under a second, so Power has been able to stretch that lead a little bit, despite the fact that Franchitti had a couple of extra push to pass and 1 extra lap of fuel. You know, when Franchitti was here a couple of weeks ago for a test, he stayed at the Glen Motor Inn in the same room that his hero Jim Clark used to stay in when they came here for the Formula One race. Clark has won here 3 times. It would mean so much for Dario to get that win here at Watkins Glen. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen today unless something drastically changes here in the next couple of laps.
Well, there you can see the margin between the top 3, and Briscoe is getting back into this now. Remember, he was starting to lose contact with Dario, but now Dario has lost contact with the race leader, and Will Power has stretched it out now to 1.3 seconds with 4 laps to go.
Well, usually Will Power has been clicking off laps that were just a couple of tenths quicker than Franchitti. That last time, Franchitti just about the same speed, and Briscoe seems to be pulling it up just a little bit, but you have to catch up to the driver in front first, and getting past usually is a little bit more of a difficult task.
Power on the push to pass right now. That brings him down to 3. They go through the bus stop one more time, and it is still a 1.3 second lead.
Well, smart job by Will Power, because you get that push to pass that lasts for 22 seconds. You push it probably coming out of turn 1 to get that run going all the way down the straightaway, and to try to keep that barrier in between him and the second place car of Dario Franchitti.
Climbing up now towards turn number 8. Margin is still the same at 1.3. Remember, Penske has owned the pole position here, winning it all 6 years that the Izod IndyCar Series has raced here at Watkins Glen, but has never sealed the deal with a victory. Power talked to us at the beginning of the race about that hex and saying that he has done everything and will do everything to break it, and he is about just over 3 laps away from fulfilling that quest.
And it looks like Franchitti had a little bit of a problem in turn 9. You see the push to pass at the top of your screen for both Franchitti and Briscoe. Both have 2 left at this point in time. Briscoe did get a little bit closer. Looks like Dario now has turned around and made that gap to what it was before.
While this goes on, I'll update you verbally. Marco Andretti's troubles continue. He has dropped back to 14th. Hideki Muto has gotten around, and so has E.J. Vizo. While all that's going on, here is the battle up front between the top 3. And it's actually getting a little bit closer between Briscoe and Franchitti at half a second.
Will Power so smooth going through those turns. He just makes the car look like it goes through effortlessly. He just does a very nice job. A bit of a dream season he set for himself this year, because he now gets to drive for Penske Racing full time. Got engaged just over the winter time to his fiancée Elizabeth Cannon when they were doing a carriage ride in Indianapolis. They will take a vacation to Hawaii for their marriage later this year in December.
While this continues, you look at the telemetry on Power. Let's update you on a few other cars as the laps continue to wind down. There are 22 cars on the lead lap. The last car in 22nd place is Danica Patrick. She's 34 seconds behind the race lead. Milka Dono is still out on the track. She is 3 laps down in 23rd. And those are the only cars still running here in the race. This time by, 2 laps remaining. And if Briscoe has anything for Franchitti, and if both of them have anything for Power, they better ignite the afterburners.
Well, in the infield section on the new portion of track down in the boot, it looks like Briscoe does get a little bit closer to Franchitti, but as soon as they get back up onto the original track through turns 9, 10, and 11, then Franchitti seems to be able to stretch that gap out one more time.
From high above, you can see them coming up through the S's down the back stretch. Franchitti right ahead of Briscoe.
172 miles an hour in this area, hard on the brakes through the bus stop that they're going through right now, back on the gas, going through the carousel. You'll see the right-hand portion of the track leads off, and that's the NASCAR track. Now we're going down to the extension, into the boot as they call it. neat going towards turn 7, back up through the gears. Turn 7 is a neat turn because you're hard on the brakes and you go uphill. It's a compression. The steering gets very heavy in the car. You get yourself pushed into the seat. Then you're up the hill going towards turn 8. Hard on the brakes, but it's a very bumpy section in here. This is where Briscoe always seems just to catch, as we're seeing him there again. But he can't keep that gap the same, so he can have a shot at Franchitti as they come to the front section. Franchitti does seem to get through 9 here just a little bit better. The power down. And then through 10, 140 miles an hour on the entry through there. Oh, right over in the curbing. Here is an opportunity for Briscoe. Franchitti had a mistake in his back end, sliding around. Get the draft, dive on the inside. Will he get that done? Only 1 lap left to go.
He's got the momentum on the white flag lap going, and he's got the position going in, and he's going to take the position away from Dario Franchitti. So the bobble costs him dearly. Briscoe using that push to pass. So is Franchitti. And now it's a matter of, could it be a Penske 1-2 sweep? One minor mistake has cost Franchitti second position. Tony Kanaan is being forced to pit. Splash and go. It's going to knock in a stall. And he stalls the car through the bus stop chicane while that continues. Franchitti doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch back up. The last time Roger Penske won here at the Glen was 1981. And the man behind the wheel was Rick Mears. Today, it looks like it's going to be a 1-2 finish for Team Penske. Will Power and Ryan Briscoe.
And Will Power starting from the pole. Remember, no one's actually won this event here from the pole, so this will get that voodoo doll that he talked about and break that streak.
Through turn 8 for the last time. All he has to do is stay clean. Franchitti has given up. He knows he can't do any more about it. Through turn 10. He'll have to settle for third. Power checks the mirrors. Now through turn 10. Power heading for turn 11. It will be his third win of the season. The only multiple winner in 2010 on the series. And the jinx is over for Team Penske. They win at the Glen.
Second flag. Good job there, Sunshine. You're going to...
You see back Briscoe, Franchitti, Matos in 4th. Great run for him, and Marias in 5th. Look at this battle. And that is Adam Carroll all over Takuma Sato. And that is 4th position on the racetrack. The battle for 16th coming down the stripe. And a good run for both those drivers. Sato's first trip here, as well as Adam Carroll. So Sato comes across officially in 15th, Carroll in 16th. And there is the captain with a 1-2 finish. Rick?
Yeah, standing by with the captain. Roger, was there any bounty on this? Was there any special way you broke this curse? Do you have any special incentive for these guys?
Well, I think just a great day for us. We qualified well, different strategy, high downforce, slow downforce, and just great pit stops here. And, Dario and Ganassi's guys are awful tough every day. So to be able to beat them every once in a while, it's good. But I'll tell you, Will Power's pretty tough with his pole positions and what he's been able to do for our sponsor, Verizon. Just a great day for us and for the whole Penske team.
Well, congratulations on breaking what little curse existed in the Penske world.
Well, I think we're okay. We'll move on to the next one. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever even worried about any kind of curse, but it is over. 6 times they've had the pole, and they finally sealed the deal with that man right there, Will Power, picking up his 3rd win this year and 7th of his career. Out on track, Mario Romancini has stalled, and that's going to cost him. It'll put him in 22nd position. Milka Duno will be 23rd. She's 3 laps down. Tony Kanaan's pit stop also cost him. He'll cross the line 21st. Danica Patrick in 20th. So things do not go well for Danica again after a 30th place run in NASCAR last week. We'll go side by side as we get ready for the celebration to begin in Victory Lane. The laurel wreath will be hanging around the neck of that man right there, Will Power.
For the millions living with COPD, breathing becomes a struggle. COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. You may have heard of it as chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Over time, you feel like you're breathing through a straw. It's the 4th leading cause of death in the U.S., and it took my grandmother. If you're over 35 and have ever smoked, you could be at risk. Good news is, you can improve your symptoms. I'm Danica Patrick, and I drive for COPD. Join the movement at driveforcopd.com. Take our screening questionnaire today and talk to your doctor.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Tuesday. Couples that crash together.
Ready? I got a little bit of a wedge, but yes.
Win cash together. On an all-new Wipeout Couples Edition.
How long you been married? Too long.
If they can make it through this course,
I can see you. You're looking good.
will it end in wedded bliss?
Gonna marry her.
ABC's Wipeout Couples Edition. Tuesday at 8/7 Central. Part of ABC's new summer season.
Murder.
Mystery.
Crime.
Passion.
Fiction.
Fact.
Procedure.
Excitement.
Forensic.
Flirting.
Annoying.
Charming.
Wednesdays.
Caller.
All summer long.
Insufferable.
Smitten.
Armed.
Dangerous.
ABC's Castle. Wednesday at 10/9 Central. Part of ABC's new summer season.
Well, you can see Will Power has made it to victory lane. Let's check in. Vince Welch.
Will Power celebrating his third victory of the season. A little thunder down under here in Watkins Glen, and the first time that Roger Penske has gotten his team to victory lane here in the IZOD IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen. And Will, first of all, how close were you on fuel toward the end?
Yeah, we were very close. I had it under control. They gave me a fuel number. I went for it, and man, I'm just so happy to have the Verizon car victory lane again. It's been too long.
With about 15 laps to go, you're running second behind your teammate Ryan Briscoe, and you got past him. Well, what was the key to that move?
I just knew that was my only chance on that restart. I was going to pass, and you know, I knew that the tires had a lot of debris on them, so I just went for it and got a good run and used a push to pass. Got past him. It was I was happy, man. I just wanted to win so bad because I just you know, we wanted to win from pole. I hate getting pole and not winning.
Rick DeBrule asked you in the pre-race about anything special that you did to break the so-called Penske curse, and you didn't want to share that. You want to share now?
It's called hard work. We all, my engineer, my crew, the whole team, we all worked really hard, and that's the result, a win.
Will Power wins at Watkins Glen, his third victory of the season, and he stretches that points lead, Marty. He's a little bit further ahead for the championship.
Let's check in on the IZOD IndyCar Series points because, as you can see, there is the traditional wreath around his neck, and that will probably end up down at the Seneca Lodge, where a lot of history has been made. And you can see he's opened up a 32-point margin now over Dario Franchitti as Franchitti moves one spot ahead of Scott Dixon, as Dixon finished in 8th position today and is now 40 markers behind. Ryan Briscoe, Elio Castroneves, Ryan Hunter-Ray picks up a spot as Tony Kanaan drops down. That last pit stop really hurt Tony as he ends up in 21st. Let's find out what happened to Dario Franchitti late in the race. Rick?
Yeah, standing by with Dario Franchitti. Got past there with just on the white flag lap, but you said it was really pretty simple reason why.
Yeah, you know, those Firestone Reds are absolutely amazing. They've got so much grip in them, but we were pushing. I pushed them a little bit too hard at the start, and I had cords on the right front, and the rubber works great. The cords doesn't work quite so well, and I just understeered off, and that allowed, I got up on the curb, had to get out of the throttle. That allowed Ryan to get past. So it's a shame not to get second today for the Target boys. Did a great job in the pits. The car wasn't bad. It was kind of an up and down day, though. You know, we went back, whatever number that Citgo car is was in the way on one of the restarts and allowed Matos to get past me. So as usual, the mobile chicane gets involved in other people's race. But it was a fun race. Always is at the Glen. Very physical, but yeah.
If the tire hadn't gone away at the end, would you have had enough to catch up to Will Power?
Who knows? Not sure. Will did a great job, and you know, when it started to go off a little bit, he probably did a better job of managing his tires. Maybe his setup was a bit kinder to them. I don't know, but he did a great job, and we did the best we could today.
All right, Dario Franchitti Not a bad finish, but not the one he was hoping for. Jamie?
Well, Ryan Briscoe, we found him. He was walking because he actually ran out of fuel, and they thought you were Will trying to take you into victory lane, Ryan. But let's talk about that last pass there, how close you were on fuel. What kind of a risk was it?
Roger was telling me we were good on fuel. We didn't run out. They just took me to victory circle. So I was good on fuel, but man, I saw Dario starting to struggle there the last couple of laps, and I was reeling him in. I never thought I'd get him because we had a lot more downforce, and I was about 4 mile an hour slower down the back straight, and that's how Will and Dario just drove around me. So it was a little bit frustrating, but it looks like with the downforce, we were able to look after the tyre a bit more. And luckily, they lasted a little bit longer than Dario's, and he just got a bit loose through 10, was slow through 11, and I was able to get a run on him and get a big enough gap where he couldn't pass me. So it felt great to bring home a Penske 1-2. We were starting 1-2-3, and we certainly didn't want the Ganassi guys to take a win from us.
And we're watching it pass right here. Ryan, as a race car driver, how much fun is that? It's
awesome. I mean, just this race today was just pushing 100% from start to finish, and that's just the way racing should be. It was great to race for second place at the end, and Will was just a bit too good today.
Great job today. Ryan Briscoe brings it home second for the second straight year. Let's go over to Rick.
Yeah, let's go to Rafael Matos, who's a very happy guy, finishing fourth for the second time this year, but you were doing it without telemetry. Explain that.
It was quite difficult for us. We lost the telemetry right before the first stop, and thanks to my engineers, very talented guys, they were able to calculate everything perfectly.
Yeah, because there was without the telemetry, they just weren't quite sure what the fuel load was going to be to the end without the old paper and pencil.
Yes, and the problem, I had the wrong number on my dash as well, so I could not tell them what kind of mileage I was doing. So, thanks God, everything worked out for us. The team worked really hard, and we certainly deserved this result.
Were you conserving anything at the end, or were you just going for it?
In the end, I was flat out.
Was it a fun race?
It was a lot of fun. It was a tight race. It was a very strategic race, and in the beginning, in the first 2 stints, I saved quite a bit of fuel, and I think it paid off in the end.
All right. Rafael Matos pretty happy with his fourth place finish. Jamie?
Mario Moraes brings it home fifth today. What a great day in the race car and on pit road. They gained you some positions. Take us through your day and what the challenge was like at Watkins Glen.
Well, I can tell you the last 2 races was pretty tough for us. We didn't finish both. But I'm pretty happy for the team. They give me some positions on the pit lane, and I get to them some position on track. We need to work really hard on the field today, but we could manage. I think I finished with, nothing on the tank, But was pretty good. Overall, it was a great day, and I hope we can go forward like that.
All right, next stop is another road course. We're going to Toronto. How much momentum does this give you and your team?
Well, I love Toronto. I think it's a great track. Last year we had a great car over there. We didn't finish the way that we wanted, but I'm looking forward, and I hope we can get another good result.
Great job today by Mario Moraes. Let's go over to Vince.
Well, it's only fitting on the 4th of July weekend that the driver in the National Guard car would have a good day. And Dan Weldon, it was adventurous. He started 20th, got spun at one point, and still fought your way back to 6th. How did you hang in there and get that done?
First and foremost, it's very special to represent the National Guard on the 4th of July, and I want to say hi to all the troops overseas and all the soldiers that are based here. But a fantastic job by the National Guard Panther Racing Team. We were very strong on the first day. We had a little problem yesterday, which we didn't find till after qualifying, and in the race it was pretty eventful to start with. Got bumped by Alex Lloyd, but as soon as we put the reds on, I was able to come through the field, and it was a very, very strong team performance.
You mentioned the bump from Lloyd. Take us through that spin. Exactly what happened from your perspective?
I could see he was having a little bit of a go, but I tried to give him a little bit of room. He obviously wasn't right alongside me, and we touched. So it's unfortunate, but one of those things. I knew once the team were going to do a pit stop, they'd make me some spots, and then fortunately, because the car was so good, we could overtake people on the track. So that was a very nice feeling.
Great recovery and a great day for Dan Weldon. He finishes 6th. Rick?
All that in the tank.
Well, standing by with Ryan Hunter-Reay telling stories. This has been a day of extremes. You got the full ride this year, you got the money, and then you stalled it in the pit. What happened?
That's what happened.
Simple stall. It's easy as that.
Yeah.
But talk about coming back. You were almost dead last when you got back out on the track.
Yeah, we got back out on the track dead last, and I was like, man, I dug a big hole for myself today, and we climbed our way out of it like we keep doing. I mean, we had a good race car and just fought our way back up to the front, or I should say up into the top 10. And you know, it was a good car. It was a lot of fun out there today. I just, that spot, that stall cost us in the end. It ended up costing us like 4 spots, I think.
Now, I was asking you, I was a little confused at the very end as to what your fuel strategy was. I was listening to the radio, and I asked you, well, what was the fuel strategy?
I don't know. They were driving me nuts on the radio, telling me save fuel. No, go ahead. No, save fuel. And it was like back and forth, and that drives a driver nuts because you just want to go, you just want to pass, you just want to go as hard as you can. And in the end, they told me to end up saving fuel, and then I ran out of fuel on the in lap. So
and you had to be towed in
on the cool down lap, yeah. So hey, I'm happy to be here for a full season. I've got so many people to thank for that. They know who they are, and with racingforcancer.org up now, and the rest of the season is in honor of my mom. It's really cool that this team's pulled together like this and done this for us.
All right, Ryan Hunter-Reay had a very adventurous day out here at Watkins Glen.
It's been an interesting day for a lot of people. Hope you enjoyed it as well. The fans already starting to head out. We want to do one thing. Bob Jenkins, the voice of the series on Versus, he has had a bit of a setback. He's feeling better. Bob, we'll see you down the road. Glad to hear it.
ESPN's coverage of the IZOD IndyCar Series at Watkins Glen on ABC, presented by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. Firestone, the first name in Indy racing. And Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Back here at the Glen, for Scott Dixon and Helio Castroneves, the defining moment of the race was early, like lap 6, right there when Dixon's wing got clipped, and it was a flat tire for Castroneves. And as we said, they finished 8th and 9th. And Dixon's with Jamie Little.
And they had one heck of a battle going for an 8th place position there at the end. You push to pass. He does it back and forth. Anyway, we just saw what happened earlier in the race. Scott, what did take place?
It was tough. The lap before I tried the same move, and I felt like he moved to the left quicker, like a typical normal line that you would take. And then in that instance, I think he hugged the right side a little more, so I went to the left, and then he moved up a little, and it just all kind of happened at the same time. And we were coming with such a rush because the car was so trimmed out that, we just caught his left rear and my right front of the wing. So definitely a tough call, for Team Target. We had a fantastic car. We were already up to 4th, going for 3rd or something at that point from 7th. So, I think we definitely could have had a nice podium position going today.
Considering what happened, 8th place isn't that bad. Vince?
Helio Castroneves upset that Dixon got interviewed before him, too. He cut your tire. From your perspective on the replay, what happened?
Yeah, I think if it would be a little bit more patient, certainly you wouldn't have this kind of situation. This place here is love and hating. I love him qualifying, I hate him in the race, but in that circumstances, he seemed to have a very fast car in the straightaway, and there was no reason to take such a risk. End up finishing both our race. Well, what can we do? Now we're able to come back to finish in the top 10. Now I got to focus on the points, and it was a big damage today.
Yeah, salvage today. Could have been worse, but disappointing for Helio Castroneves, Marty.
All right, so Helio Castroneves, as the celebration continues down on the podium. Don't forget to join us in 2 weeks here on ABC for the IZOD IndyCar Series at Toronto, Sunday, July 18th at 12:30 Eastern. Coming up next, ABC's World News or your local news, except on the West Coast. And congratulations once again to Will Power, winner of the IZOD IndyCar Series here at Watkins Glen.
Happy 4th of July.
And it's been a happy 4th of July for a lot of us, guys. And our salute again to all of our troops as the day started off with a lot of action, as it was quickly on lap 6 and a little bit of bumping and banging. There was the incident from high above, the bump and run there that got Dan Weldon turned around, and then a great pass late in the race for Will Power. For our entire ESPN crew, Scott Goodyear, Rick DeBrule, Jamie Little, Vince Welch, I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.
This has been a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.